Hello, this is Spartan Commander, and this is a 1022nd Rome Total War Brotherhood game that I put onto YouTube. And what a battle I've got for you today. As you can see, we're playing on one of our favourite custom maps here. And you'll notice here, in the kind of the centre of the map, you'll see that this is a little bit of higher ground here that you may well see both teams trying to grab, especially in the early stages of the battle there. Okay, so as I say, it's one of our favourite maps. You can see there's a lot of ups and downs. You know, tactical ground advantage here would be very, very important. Can you see the snowy mountains at the back there? The snowy mountains. As I say, it's a nice custom map, this one. And as I say, tactical ground movement on this map is going to be very important, as you will see as the battle unfolds. Okay, our first teammate is Brotherhood member Fesen. Now, Fesen's got 11 infantry, 2 town watch, and 6 cavalry. Okay, and what I wanted to show you here, you can see that he's got a morale boosting eagle unit, which is always a good thing to bring, along with his infantry general morale boosting unit as well. So he's got 2 morale units there, and then he's got 2 town watch units, okay, which I'm guessing he's going to put as a pilot shield unit. You know, his units there, and notice no upgrades, so it's just basic town watch units there, very cheap, and that has enabled him to spend more money on his cavalry. There you are, look. He's got 8 upgrades, 2 experience stripes, gold shield, gold attack on his cavalry. So bringing those couple of town watches with no upgrades on has enabled him to spend most of his money on his cavalry. Let's see if that'll work during the course of the battle. Okay, our next teammate is Brotherhood member Mantu. Now, he's got 14 infantry and 6 cavalry, but it is not the bog standard 31k Roman army, as you will see. Okay, if we have a look at his infantry, you'll see that he's got 7 upgrades, a veteran stripe, gold shield, gold attack on his infantry. Okay, so that goes to show you that he spent the bulk of his money on his infantry, because they've all got 7 upgrades on. A veteran stripe, gold shield, gold attack. Now, what has enabled him to do that is because the cavalry that he's bought are equites. Okay, so these are light cavalry, very cheap. They move very fast around the battlefield. They can hit vulnerable targets like you know, into archers or into the rear of engaged enemy troops. But because he's bought the cheap equite cavalry, that has enabled him to spend the majority of his money on his infantry. So make no mistake about that. He's got 7 upgrades on his infantry. That's really good there for his army. Our next teammate is Brotherhood member Skema, who's bought the Seleucid faction. Now, he's got 14 pikes. He's got 4 chariots and 2 cavalry. If you look at the upgrades on his pikes there, you'll see he's got 7 upgrades, a veteran stripe, gold shield, gold attack on his Seleucid pikes, which is pretty good. The Seleucid do need that experience stripe, and he's got 2 units of cataphracts. There, remember, we call these guys, I know we've said about this over and over again, tanks of the ancient world, because they're armor from head to toe. And he's got 4 chariot units, I believe. Okay, remember, we've talked about these chariots for you know, a lot in our battles. You know, unless you feel confident and competent using chariots, I would always say really think about whether you want to bring them or not, because if they run amok and start killing your allies, you know, that you will become unpopular very quickly. So chariots are really a double-edged sword, and as I say, unless you're confident or competent, you really need to think whether you want to bring them or not. And our last teammate is myself, Spartan Commander, who's bought 16 Sacred Band units. Okay, 16 Sacred Band units. Notice no cavalry. Okay, no cavalry in this old army, just 16 Sacred Band spearmen. Be interested to see how well they do during the course of the battle. Potential to be a really cracking battle, this one. And here is the other team. We have RTW player Barclayman, who's got his faction of choice, Thrace. He's got 12 pikes, 5 Aurelian mercenaries, 2 Bastarni, and a cavalry general. And as I say, this is increasingly Barclayman's faction of choice. If you notice there, he's got, oh my gosh, count the upgrades on his pikemen. Fully upgraded. 3 experience stripes, gold shield, gold attack on his Thracian pikes there. So that is some serious infantry there. And here's a unit you don't see very often, Aurelian mercenaries. Now he's got 5 of them, and if you notice, they carry spears, throwing spears there. And with 5 of them, I think one of my teammates remarked on how much damage they did to his forward pike units during the course of the battle. As I say, Aurelian mercenaries you don't see very often. In fact, you don't see Thrace very often. And there he's got 2 Bastarnae units as well, okay, within his army. And as I say, this is increasingly Barclayman's faction of choice, and he's got a cavalry general there as well. Okay, so you can see he hasn't bothered with much cavalry there, just his general, and he's put his money on his pikes and those Aurelian mercenaries there. Okay, our next teammate is Brotherhood member Vidar. Now Vidar's got 14 pikes and 6 cavalry. 14 pikes, 6 cavalry, and I think if I remember, the majority of his pikes had 7 upgrades on, and experience stripe, gold shield, gold attack on his pikes. Remember, the Macedonian optimum upgrades are 8 upgrades, 2 experience stripes, gold shield, gold attack, and he's got 6 companion cavalry as well with their massive 9 charge bonus. Their next teammate is someone who's called himself Honeyball, but is in fact Brotherhood member Royer. Now Royer's got 13 chosen axemen, 1 Knight Raider, and 5 cavalry. Okay, so he's brought the Knight Raiders. Now remember, the Knight Raiders are good infantry in their own right, okay, but they also bring a fear factor to the battlefield as well. Remember, units that bring fear factor take morale away from enemy troops, destabilizing them, making them more susceptible to routing. Okay, there's a close-up of the chosen axemen there. Okay, and you can see he's got 8 upgrades on, 2 experience stripes, gold shield, gold attack. And those axes they carry are effective against armor and can cut wide swathes through heavily armored troops like Roman infantry. And remember, the heavier the armor, okay, the more the effective against armor bonus kicks in. So obviously fighting heavily armored Roman troops, both infantry and cavalry, they can do a lot of damage. And there's the Germania banner there. Looks quite scary, doesn't it? And there he's got his 5 cavalry there, if I remember, with 7 upgrades. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, 7 upgrades, experience stripe, gold shield, gold attack. If you get time, check out the specifications of these Gothic cavalry. I think you'll be surprised on how good they are. Okay, so that is Royer's army. But have you noticed anything missing from this Germania army? Okay, veterans watching this, I know you will have spotted this straight away. So this is a Germania army. Have you noticed anything that is missing at all? Okay, any particular units that might be missing? Okay, so if you look, there are no berserkers. Okay, now arguably berserkers are the most powerful units in the game, and Royer has decided not to bring berserkers in his army. Now, will that be a mistake, or will those 13 chosen axemen make up for that? Well, I guess we'll just have to see. But as I say, very unusual, no berserkers in a Germania army. Okay, their next teammate is Brotherhood member Spitfyr. Now Spitfyr's got 3 hoplites, 16 Spartans, and 1 horse missile unit. Okay, now these aren't the armoured hoplites. Okay, remember, the armoured hoplites, well armoured and good specifications. These are just hoplites, the cheapest spear units in the Greek cities units there. Okay, so they're the cheapest ones. He's bought them obviously as pilot shield units there, but of course the Spartans will be his elite infantry. And as I say, he's got 1 horse missile unit there that will be throwing missiles obviously into the enemy troops. So this is a very diverse team that we're fighting here, okay, on this very popular custom map. Okay, because if we look there, you'll see that you have got Thrace with Barclayman. You've got Macedon there with Vidar. You've got Germania there with Royer. Okay, and you've got Greek cities with Spitfyr. So a very diverse team. And as I say, it's got the potential to be an absolutely cracking battle, and I really hope that you enjoy it. Okay, just to give you a heads up on this, a lot of regular viewers will know that very often I host on maps where I've got to run across from my flank over to the other flank there where the team has decided to set up. Okay, those of you that watch our battle regularly will remember that I have got some maps where, as I say, I have to run across to the other side of the map. Okay, but we're decided we're going to fight here today on that higher ground. So Mantu, Skema's already there, Mantu's going there, I'm going there. But the problem is for poor old Fesen right over on the right flank, okay, he's got to try and run over to get to where we're going to actually be forming up and fighting on that slightly higher ground where Skema is. He's going to move forward a little bit to try and grab the higher ground. So the problem is, though, that Fesen could well be intercepted here by enemy troops. Okay, now normally what I do when I have to run from one flank to the other, I form up right at the back of the forming up area here. This is where I would form up if I was Fesen, okay, in anticipation of possibly being intercepted. And then I would run in this direction with my army, okay, until I got to about here, and then decide to move up to help my move towards my allies there. Okay, so that's what I would have done there. But if he runs from that position there with the trajectory, okay, towards Skema's Seleucid army, there is a chance he could be intercepted by enemy troops here. Okay, so remember, you know, I've got a lot of practice at running from one flank to the other, so I know where I form up, so to try and reduce the chances of being intercepted. Okay, so let's say there's a little bit of lag in this battle because there's so many pike and spear factions, okay, which causes some people's computers to run a little bit slow. So there is a little bit of lag, but that will get better as the game progresses and more units are killed. Okay, so you'll see here I'm running my Carthaginian army over towards Skema's. You'll see that Skema now has grabbed the higher ground, this slightly higher ground. It's not a massive advantage, but it's a slightly higher ground there that Skema has captured with his Seleucids there. Can you see what I mean? Slightly higher ground there. You'll see the Macedonians there moving forward, looking to move round possibly the flank of Skema there. Okay. And as I say, poor old Fesen there is running as fast as he can, but look at the trajectory that he's chosen. Can you see the trajectory there? He's kind of moving, if you like, towards the enemy troops. Now make no mistake, the enemy troops here, you can see their positioning here. They're looking to intercept Fesen as he moves over. Okay, make no mistake about that. That's what they're looking to do here. I can see the positioning of the Greek cities and the Germania troops there. Now look at them moving forward, okay, so you can see what their plan is here. And if you notice here, you'll see that the team has got a battle plan here. The Macedonians, can you see the positioning of the enemy Macedonians here? Can you think why they're positioning there? Okay, tactical question there. Okay, so the reason that the Macedonians are going to position themselves there, okay, is to block any reinforcements to Fesen. Okay, so that the Macedonian army there is going to block us. It's going to be the blocking force that stops us from getting any of our infantry over to help Fesen. Okay, so you can see the enemy team battle plan there. The Macedonians are going to block us, while the Germania troops and the Greek cities troops are going to smash into the flank of Fesen's moving infantry. Okay, so what might be a good idea for Fesen now is to see that coming and back off towards the back of the map there. And can you see that he has changed his trajectory? He's no longer heading for for us there. He's trying to move away from the interception, but I think it's going to be too late here. And as I say, you can see the Macedonian blocking force there, and you can see the Germania and Greek cities army do the downhill charge into Fesen's moving infantry here. This could be a very, very short battle. Just to give you a heads up on this, this could be an extremely short battle. Right, so there you can see the Germanic troops with the downhill charge bonus there for both infantry and cavalry. And you'll see the Spartans there, the Greek city units coming down there, also with the downhill charge bonus as well. And as I say, look at the Macedonians there being the blocking force. Okay, nice move here by the enemy team. Okay, very nice move. Right, pause the game for a second here. So there you are. You can see them smashing into poor old Fesen's infantry there with a downhill advantage. You can see the cavalry there, the Germanic cavalry with their 7 charge bonus. And you can see the effective against armor axemen going in there. I think there's Macedonian cavalry in there as well with their 9 charge bonus. Oh my gosh. Poor old Fesen. Now, if you notice here, Fesen started to bring his cavalry over. Remember, he's got 8 upgrades on his cavalry. He was bringing them over to help his infantry, but I think if I remember correctly, Mantu said to him, save your cavalry, Fesen. What's happened there cannot be stopped now. That's, you know, there's no going back now. Fesen's probably going to lose all his infantry. So he may as well keep his cavalry back there, save his cavalry, his well-upgraded cavalry. As I say, there's no going back now. His infantry looks to me like it's going to be taken out. Anyway, nice blocking move there by Macedon. As I say, he sent his 9 charge companion cavalry into the fray as well. Oh my gosh, poor old Fesen. I can't believe he's still holding there. Just look at that downhill charge from the Germania, Greek cities and Macedonian cavalry, and that is that. As I say, this will be a very short battle, as you can see, because straight away now this is a 4v3. Okay, so there you are. All of Fesen's infantry is taken out, and I remember that Royer chased down all of Fesen's infantry to stop them rallying with his cavalry. I remember that, and so there you are. All of Fesen's, now as I say, it's a 4v3. We've got Thrace, Macedon, Germania and Greek cities just against our 3 armies now. So as I say, a very short battle this will be now, with poor old Fesen's army getting, infantry getting taken out. You can see here that I think Skema's Seleucid and pikes there were going to take on the Thracian pikes. But as I say, not a very long battle now. As I say, poor old Fesen's lost all his infantry, and this is now, you know, really, to be honest, a 4 against 3 battle. So, as I say, quite a short battle. You'll see I'm moving my Carthaginian army out there. Now, can you think why I'm doing that? What I would say to you, I said to you that this is a tactical ground map, okay? There's lots of undulating ground, ups and downs here. So moving tactically is important. So can you see I've put my Carthaginian army there because it's on slightly higher ground. Okay, so what I was trying to do was to get into a position on the higher ground so that, you know, if I'm attacked by any of those armies there, I will have a downhill advantage. Okay, that's what I think I was thinking at the time. Okay, as they had that massive downhill charge advantage onto Fesen's infantry. Right, you'll see that Mantu is also moving his SBQR infantry forward as well, because we are at the moment on the higher ground. Okay, now let's just see what the enemy troops are going to do about that. Are they going to attempt to attack up the slope there, or are they going to try some tactical movement? As I say, you can see Barclayman's Thracian army there. And I know as I was moving across to try and keep the higher ground, I was very aware of the enemy Thracian army behind me that could maybe up pikes and charge into the rear of my troops when I get hit in the front by, say, the Greek cities. I was very aware of that. But here you can see, and as I say, Royer's cavalry here made sure he chased down all the routing units of Fesen's infantry there. So it wouldn't surprise me if Royer has some really good kills at the end of this battle, because he killed all the routing troops there with his cavalry. He did a good job there for the enemy team, stopped any of Fesen's infantry rallying there. So good move there by Royer. Now, as I say, at the moment we've got the higher ground. Luckily though, Fesen kept his well upgraded cavalry back from the battle there. As I say, that was a good shout by Mantu to say to Fesen, save your cavalry there. What was happening to his infantry, there was no going back. But don't forget, we've also just got light equite cavalry of our SBQ or ally there, Mantu. Right, so here, I just thought you might find this quite interesting. Can you see these Aurelian mercenaries? Now, actually, we don't see Thrace in the 31k battlefield very often, so it's even less chance of seeing Thracian mercenaries. Now, the reason Barclayman brings the Thracian mercenaries is because of the missile damage that they can do. And to bring 5 of them, they are going to do a lot of damage to the Seleucid pikes of Skema. And I remember after the battle, Skema said to Barclayman, I was surprised at the damage that those Thracian mercenaries did. Now remember that the big 121 man pike units are incredibly susceptible to missile damage, so those 5 Aurelian mercenaries throwing their spears into those Seleucid pikes there would have caused a lot of damage, as Skema did say at the end of the battle there. So I thought you might find that interesting. Here you can see my Carthaginians there. Now my army is starting to look a little bit isolated and a little bit exposed there. So really the best thing for me to do, I think, is to pull back to my allies. Okay, as I say, I can see the rear units of those Thracians could come in behind me there and trap me there, and I could get hit by all those enemy armies. So the best tactical thing for me to do now is to move back. I am a little bit reluctant because I want to keep that higher ground above the enemy troops, but really and truthfully, tactically and strategically, I need to move back to my allies there because I was getting a little bit isolated. Okay, so you can see I'm moving back now to my allies. I need to move quite fast because I see that Greek city's army coming in there, looking to intercept my troops, maybe looking to pin and hold me there where the Macedonians come in, and maybe the Germanic troops come in from the other flank. We just have to see. But as I say here, tactically and strategically, best for me to move my units back. And as I say, you can see Spitfyr bringing his Greek city's army up there fast to try and catch my moving Carthaginians there. As I say, there is a little bit of lag in the game at the moment, and that's just because there's so many pikes and spearmen. Hope that doesn't spoil the game too much for you. So there's my Carthaginians facing the Greek cities now, and the Macedonians here could possibly come round my flank, could link up with their Thracian ally and attack my flank there. So that would be bad news. You can see, as I say, Skema's Seleucid pikes there matching the Thracian pikes. But as I say, those Aurelian mercenaries, I think Barclayman said they've got 7 missiles each that they could throw in, like, if you see what I mean, 7 volleys of spears they could throw in. And if you look at the casualties that Skema suffered already, can you see these are big 121 man units? Look, that unit's reduced to 64, that unit there is reduced to 50, and that unit over there has been reduced as well. So make no mistake, those Aurelian mercenaries have caused Skema a lot of casualties. And as I say, at the end of the battle, when we got back to the multiplayer lobby, Skema mentioned about how many casualties he'd suffered. Right, now over here you'll see that Royer has moved his Germanic army round our flank, but he has positioned his army in a very disadvantaged position there. Can you see that? He is now kind of at the bottom of a slope there, if you notice. And if you notice there, Skema has got his infantry there, which I'm pretty sure is full of pilers. Oh, that's good news for us. The Greek city's general's just been killed, so that's good news. And we've got all our cavalry on top of the slope as well, or a lot of our cavalry on top of the slope. Julii and Seleucid cataphracts there. Okay, so as I say, he's put that Germanic army there. Royer's put that Germanic army at quite a disadvantage there, really. Right, okay, so over here, what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and hold and pin as many enemy units as I can. Now, if you notice here, I'm fighting the Greek cities, but I'm keeping a reserve of my Carthaginians back to try and counter the Macedonians, which I'm sure will try and come in on my flank. So what I'm going to try and do, if I can hold the Greek city, and there's Thrace coming in on me as well, but what I'm looking to do is if I can hold up the Macedonians and Greek cities for long enough, okay, I could sacrifice my whole army, could go here, okay, but if I can hold up the Macedonians and Greek cities long enough, maybe, just maybe, over here, we might be able to take out that Germania army, and then we can then, all my allies then can come over and relieve the situation. Do you see what I mean? So tactically and strategically, I'm thinking of just trying to hold the Macedonians and Greek cities as long as I can. Here, can you see these Seleucid casualties here? I'm pretty sure these are guys that were killed by the Aurelian mercenaries there, throwing those spears into Skema's pikes there. I just thought I'd show you that, just to show you how effective those Aurelian mercenaries can be in numbers. But as I say, so tactically and strategically, I am going to try and hold up the Macedonians and Greek cities for as long as I can. Looking at the disposition of the Germanic army there, down the bottom of that slope, I'm hoping my allies will be able to take them out and then come over to help me. because at the moment here, look, can you see the Macedonians moving in here? You can see Vidar, he's going to put some pressure on my guys, and I'm fighting Spartans there as well. So, but as I say, the longer I can hold up the Greek cities and Macedonians, as I say, the more I'm hoping my allies would be able to take out the Germanic army there. But you can see I'm already under a lot of pressure. Look at that massive Macedonian army moving in there. If you notice, I think Skema moves a couple of his pike units over to try and help as much as he can, but he's facing the attack by Thrace there as well. So, as I say, if Skema and myself can hold these three enemy armies up, okay, maybe, just maybe, our allies can take out this Germanic army. Now look at the down slope advantage that we've got there. Now what's Royer going to do? Is he going to attack uphill? Yes, he is going to attack uphill with his effective against armor axemen, running into Mantu's running troops there. Oh my gosh, look at the penetration that those effective against armor axemen. And now the cavalry are going in like a bang! There's a Gothic cavalry charge in there with their 7 charge bonus. Oh my gosh. Could they take out Mantu's army there? Just look at the penetration that they've got already, nearly trying to get to Mantu's general there. But remember, Mantu's infantry's got 7 upgrades on, a veteran stripe, gold shield, gold attack. So they are going to hold longer than gold shield, gold attack infantry will. Okay, with that veteran stripe. Now, if our allies can get their chariots and cavalry in behind the Germanic troops there, can you see both our Seleucid ally there, okay, Skema, and our Julio ally Fesen, if they can get those cavalry and chariots in behind the attacking Germania troops there, there's a potential, okay, I can only say this, there's a potential of getting a mass rout on those Germanic troops who are penetrating into Mantu's battle formation. Right, see the cavalry going in there like a bang! Seleucid cavalry, now the Julio cavalry going in, bang! And now the Equites going in as well. Hammer and anvil attack, oh my gosh! A classic hammer and anvil attack there. And Mantu's infantry being the anvil and all the cavalry being the hammer there. And we have now taken out the entirety of Royer's Germanic army. Okay, so this, oh my gosh, we've turned things around here, maybe, just maybe there. We've taken out Royer's Germanic army, which got isolated and was attacking up the slope there. So what I need now is for my allies to get over, because I don't know how long I'm going to hold. You can see the Macedonian pikes have kind of punched a little hole through my battle line there, if you notice. And plus, as I say, I'm fighting the Spartans there with their 2 hit points and excellent specifications. Skema's holding well against Macedon and Thrace as well. So both Skema and myself here trying to hold up these 3 enemy armies. We just need our allies, our victorious allies, to get over now as fast as they can. There. Look at I can see my Carthaginian units have been really battle depleted there. You can see the Macedonian cavalry charging in there as well. My guys have been fighting for a long time, so they're going to be tired, battle depleted, and ready to rout. I would think there's that cavalry going in there like a bang. What he's trying to do here, what Vidar is trying to do with his cavalry, is trying to get my units to mass rout. Okay, so he's hit me there. You can see a couple of my units there are already starting to rout. There's one unit there and another unit there. So you can see the pressure of those Macedonian pikes and the Greek cities really coming in on my Carthaginians there. And well done to Skema, he's holding really well with his Seleucids. But our victorious allies are now coming over here now, and I'm just hoping they're going to be able to take the pressure off of us there. Oh my gosh, I can't believe that we took out that Germania army now. So I mean, that's really good news for us, especially at this stage of the battle. There you can see Fesen's cavalry charging in there. Oh my gosh, and bang, as he smashes it into those Greek cities. Look at the penetration of Fesen's cavalry. Remember, he's got those 8 upgrades on his cavalry, 2 veteran stripes, gold shield, gold attack. Okay, so he's doing really well. You can see Mantu's army coming up there. I don't think Mantu got a chance to throw any pilots into the Germania army, so I'm guessing that most of his units can still throw pilots in. But look at my unit starting to rout. Oh my gosh, that unit, that Carthage unit, fought down to the last 2 men. Fought down to the last 2 men. What's that one there? Fought down to the last 7 men there. And what did that one fight down to the last 3 men? So my Carthaginians are fighting right down to the last, kind of almost the last men there. But look at the pressure that they're under from those massive Macedonian long pikes. There's my general, a little bit exposed there, I think. There, and you can see a lot of my units are routed. Now here comes, as I say, Mantu's SBQR infantry, and I think he's still got a lot of pilots to throw into the enemy troops. Skema has held really well against both Thrace and Macedon pikes as well. So now, as I say, our allies are coming to help us. I can see that there's a... Right, okay, so that's my general has just been taken out by that Macedonian cavalry. Okay, so my fault there. My general was too exposed there. And so that was totally my fault. A nice opportunist surgical hit there by Vidar with his companion cavalry. Okay, so that's my general gone. I can see the Seleucid generals keeping his chariots in behind us, but not actually fighting. So the chariot there is sucking the morale from enemy troops. Remember the fear factor from the chariots. Oh my gosh, you can see our cavalry there, Fesen's well upgraded cavalry, charging into the Macedonian cavalry. There come bang! You've got the equites going in there as well, look, and bang as they charge in there. But you can see the enemy are bringing spear units over to try and help that companion cavalry there. And I can see the Thracian general riding over there as well. Right, okay, so at this stage of the battle, get ready for this. Out of my 16 Sacred Band units, I've just got 2 units left. That's all that I've got left there. And they could well be taken out pretty soon there. Look at what I'm facing, the Macedonians and the Spartans there. So those 2 units could be taken out and I could lose my entire army here. But over here at the rear, you can see our cavalry there, and the Julioid cavalry of Fesen and the equites of Mantu there harassing the enemy troops. But good news here, I can see some enemy Macedonian units starting to rout here. So that's really good news for us. And I'm still attacking with my Carthaginians. I'm not backing off at all. All the way through this battle, all I've used my units for is attack, attack, attack. Okay, that's all I've been using. I haven't been stood in defense at all, just attacking all the time. And as I say, you can see Mantu's SBQR infantry there probably throwing pilers into the enemy troops there, as I say, because he didn't get a chance to throw pilers into the Germania army before he was attacked. So make no mistake, he will be causing a lot of casualties to enemy troops there with his pilers. But now you can see a heck of a lot of enemy troops starting to rout now. Okay, nice use by Fesen's cavalry there and by the equites of Mantu as well. Really well done to them. And as I say, you can see the Seleucid chariots behind Mantu's infantry there, not attacking, doesn't seem to be doing anything except sapping the morale from enemy troops. Okay, so I think I'm down to 1 unit. Yep, that's all I've got left is 1 unit. See Fesen's cavalry coming into the back of that Macedonian unit there, and bang as he charged in there. And that Macedonian unit still holding, can't believe that. Nice hit there by Fesen. But if you look around the battlefield, you will see a heck of a lot of enemy units starting to rout. That Macedonian unit is just routed there. And you can see there my Carthage unit, my last Carthage unit fighting that Spartan unit there. Be nice if Fesen's cavalry smashed into the back of that unit, although there are other juicier targets for Fesen's cavalry, which he has spotted. Look, going to smash into the back of the Thracian engaged infantry there, like, bang, as he smashes into them there. Took out the last, I think, of the enemy troops there, and the general, the Thracian general as well. And it looks like our team has managed to go on to win the battle. How we managed to turn this battle around after poor old Fesen's, all his infantry got taken out, I mean, what a really good thing for my allies to have done there. Okay, so over here, this is where poor old Fesen lost all his infantry to that downhill charge by enemy troops there. Just look at all those red Julii infantry there, smashed and crashed by, as I say, that downslope advantage that the Germania and Greek cities and Macedonian cavalry had there, taking his infantry out. But over here, if you like, we got kind of a little bit of revenge here, didn't we, in taking out that Germania army of theirs with the downslope advantage we had in that massive hammer and anvil attack, where we got cavalry and chariots in behind them there. And Mantu's infantry being the anvil and all that cavalry being the hammer there, took out that Germania army. And if we look over here, oh my gosh, just look at the dead here. Just look at all those red cloaked dead Spartans. As we move over here, you can see, just look at that. You can see the intensity of the grinding battle that was fought in this area. As we move across there, you can see the dead there, and that will be Macedonian there. I can see Thracian dead and Seleucid dead there. And if we move a little bit further over there, you'll see, can you see the Pontus dead there with the turquoise colours there, if you like, there. And you've got the Seleucid dead there in the white there. So that's the pike difference there between them. That's why they're not died dead in piles there. It's because they killed each other from the distance of the pikes. And as I say here, I've got 1 unit left. Remember, I had 16 well upgraded Carthaginian units, and I've just got 1 unit left, and that's it. The rest, the 15 other units, have all been taken out, and they're 1 unit. So that just bears testament to how intense the fighting was. But how the heck we managed to turn this battle around after losing all of Fesen's infantry. I'd just like to say really well done to Mantu there, Skema, Mantu and Skema there, and Fesen, the use of his cavalry. So well done to them, really well done. Okay, so the first thing I'd like to say is really well done to everybody in the game. I thought this was a cracking battle there, and it was an average victory. How we managed to make it an average victory after the disaster that befell us at the beginning of the battle, just really well done to my allies there, Skema, Mantu and Fesen's use of cavalry. Highest kills in the game goes to Brotherhood member Skema. 2,141 kills, so well done. But something else I wanted to show you here. Can you see Mantu got around 2,000 kills? How rare is that? Just get 2 people in a battle with over 2,000 kills, and one of them getting around 2,000 kills. So well done to Spitfyr. He'll be disappointed he got less than 1,000 kills. I know that. Well done to Royer. Look at the kills that he got with his Germania army. Even though he was smashed and crashed on that slope, I think a lot of those kills is what he did to Fesen at the beginning of the battle there. Well done to Vidar, got over 1,000 kills with his Macedonian army. And well done to Barclayman, got over 1,000 kills with his Thracians. So well done, guys. Good kills there. If you notice there, my army is the smallest army on the battlefield there. Can you see my army, the smallest on the battlefield? And so I'm really pleased with the kills that I got there. I'm really pleased with those kills. I thought it did well, held well. As I say, well done to Skema, highest kills in the game with his Seleucid army. Well done to him. And also well done to Mantu. Really good kills there with his army. There, he did really well. There, bearing in mind he had Equite cavalry. And well done to Fesen. He'll be disappointed there. But bearing in mind his infantry was smashed, crashed and bashed at the beginning of the battle to get that many kills. Well done to Fesen. He used his cavalry extremely well. Now what about faction advantage here? So we had Carthage, Seleucid, Rome and Rome. Quite a strong combination. They had Greek cities, Germania, Macedon and Thrace. That's pretty strong as well. So do you think there was any faction advantage in this battle? So please leave your thoughts in the comments. It's always nice to read about what you think about our battles. And please give us a thumbs up as well if you really enjoyed this one. Okay, so I look forward to seeing you soon. And bye for now.